That shit got me so hot, my nigga. So hot. Like, yo, I do not play when it comes to my child. Don't play with me. But it's like, it's a whack feeling when your kid don't, not even trying to and try to call somebody else mommy. Watch, I'm not even gonna touch y'all because everybody wanna be suing people. I'ma spit at y'all motherfucker like this. Like that. Don't play when it comes to my kids.
It's getting wild out here again. Cardi B just lit the internet on fire with a move nobody saw coming. The tension between her and Nicki Minaj has always been heavy, but this time, it's gone way too far. The two rap queens have been at each other's throats for years, throwing shade, subliminals, and sneak disses, but now the drama's hitting a whole new level. This time, the fight has turned ugly, and fans are saying Cardi might have gone too far by dragging Nicki's son, Papa Bear, into the mess. What started as a few spicy tweets turned into a full-blown meltdown online. Cardi hinted that Nicki's little boy might have developmental struggles, something that fans had whispered about for a while, but no one ever confirmed. Instead of leaving it at that, Cardi allegedly claimed she had real tea on Papa Bear, even saying she had his medical records. Can you imagine? People were stunned. Some didn't even believe it at first, but others swear Cardi's been sitting on that info for months waiting to use it. Now, the situation has exploded. Fans are calling it one of the nastiest public fallouts in hip-hop history. This isn't just rap beef anymore. It's personal, emotional, and crossing boundaries nobody thought would ever be touched. Cardi went from throwing lyrical shots to threatening something that could seriously damage Nicki's family privacy. The internet lost it. People said Cardi took things from petty to disrespectful in seconds. The whole thing started brewing after Cardi dropped her new album, Am I the Drama? And well, yes, she definitely is right now. Ever since that release, Nicki's fans have been loud, claiming Cardi threw shade before the album even dropped. They pointed to certain lyrics and interviews where Cardi seemed to be bragging about outselling Nicki without ever naming names.
There is an album, so you talking about no album with what? Y'all don't even want me to drop that album because y'all gonna be crying. Because I'm going to outsell. I'm going to have hits. I'm going to be on top. That's a fact. Y'all better, y'all never watch the Freddie Our Parents when they say you got to be careful what you wish for because what you be wishing for is not what you're going to want.
But come on, everybody knew who she meant. That kind of confidence didn't sit well with Nicki's camp, especially after Pink Friday 2 numbers started circulating again. Cardi's album did strong, selling about 200,000 units its first week. But Nicki's Pink Friday 2 had done slightly better with around 227,000. That small gap? Enough to spark a firestorm. Soon after, Nicki started retweeting posts about her sales milestones. How her album had the biggest vinyl week for a female rap project since the early 90s and the highest global Spotify debut for a female rapper. Fans took it as shade toward Cardi, especially since the timing lined up perfectly with Cardi's own celebration. So while Cardi was thanking fans for her success, Nicki was busy reposting stats. And just like that, things got heated again. What should have been 2 women celebrating wins turned into another digital war. But nobody expected what came next, a back and forth so personal and vicious that people are now calling for both to take a break from social media altogether. And trust me, this was just the beginning. Just when fans thought the drama might cool down, Nicki Minaj came swinging right back, and she didn't hold back one bit. It started with her liking and retweeting a few stat posts about Pink Friday 2's success, but people knew it wasn't just about numbers, and it was shade aimed straight at Cardi. Nicki's retweets included stuff like, Pink Friday 2 remains the biggest debut for a female rap album this decade. And Nicki Minaj holds 2 of the top 5 biggest Spotify debuts for female rap projects ever. Basically saying, I'm still the queen. The timing was too perfect, and fans caught on instantly. It looked like Nicki was making sure everyone remembered who ran the charts first. And Cardi? She wasn't about to sit quiet. She started tweeting right back, cryptic lines that were obviously meant for Nicki, like everything I do they hate, and go to your room. It was classic Cardi, funny but cutting. Fans knew the war was officially back on. Then Nicki fired off a tweet that changed the entire tone of the fight. It was wild. She posted what looked like a freestyle full of coded shots. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, falling off the charts with a big belly, running trains barefoot. And more lines that had people's jaws dropping. It was a clear reference to Cardi's new album and her track Magnet. But Nicki twisted it into an insult. That's when Cardi hit back hard. She quoted Nicki's ABCD mockery and threw it right back in her face. face. She said, "Must call on notifications and alerts because everything I do they hate," flipping Nicki's lyrics to show she wasn't scared. From there, it got messy quick. Nicki then took more shots, writing things about Cardi's pregnancy and even throwing wild accusations that fans called too personal. Cardi saw that and completely lost her cool. She clapped back, writing, "This the third tweet talking about my pregnancy? Like you wasn't visiting doctors because you couldn't reproduce." That line alone had everyone screaming online. It was brutal. Nicki then tried to calm things down a bit. She tweeted something real, saying, "I have never had fertility issues. That's not something to use as a drag." It was one of the few moments of sincerity in this chaos. She said women struggling with that deserve empathy, not insults. But it didn't last long. A few minutes later, Nicki called Cardi Barney B and Coach a Vulture, a phrase people instantly connected to Cardi's daughter, Culture. That's when fans started realizing, oh no, the kids were getting dragged into this now. Nicki's next tweets were harsh. She wrote things like Culture Vulture album flopped and Sympathy Baby couldn't pull 228,000. Fans were shocked. Everyone could tell she wasn't holding back anymore. At that point, all lines were crossed. Cardi's next move, unfiltered and explosive. She went off in a way nobody could have predicted. And she wasn't just talking about Nicki anymore. She was talking about Nicki's son, Papa Bear. And what she said next changed the tone of everything. This is where everything went completely off the rails. After Nicki started throwing shade that fans felt was aimed at Cardi's daughter, Cardi lost all chill and fired back with something nobody ever thought she'd say. The beef went from bad to straight up disturbing, with both women taking shots that crossed every possible line. Cardi went all in. She tweeted, "You wish you could call my daughter ugly." Culture is beautiful, and you know that. You hate so deep and dark because your son nonverbal. The internet froze. That line alone had social media spinning out of control. People couldn't believe Cardi mentioned Papa Bear like that. She didn't stop there. She went on saying, "Papa Bear, I'm sorry you can't speak and bang spoons because your mom couldn't put the drugs down." Fans immediately recognized that banging spoons line as a reference to an old clip where Nicki's son was seen playing with kitchen utensils. It was meant to be harmless, but Cardi turned it into a punchline. Twitter went crazy. Some fans said Cardi crossed every moral line possible. Others said she was just fighting back after Nicki dissed her own child first. But no matter whose side you were on, everyone agreed this was ugly. Cardi even took it further, saying, "Look what your karma produced. Now he's 5 years old tippy-toeing around the house and can't spell his name." It was harsh. People were begging her to delete the tweets before it got worse, but the damage was already done. The screenshots spread like wildfire, and Nicki supporters came in swinging. Nicki clapped back in full rage mode. She called Cardi's daughter Culture the Vulture and threw out words that many fans found offensive and disgusting. She said things like, "Your mom pregnant with another monkey," and that sent the internet into meltdown. The whole situation became too nasty to even process. Both sides were crossing lines that had nothing to do with music anymore. Nicki even brought up Culture's looks, comparing her to other kids in the most disrespectful way possible. That's when people started saying, "This isn't rap beef anymore, this is cruelty." The things being said about innocent children were heartbreaking, and both fan bases were in full-on war mode. Cardi clapped back again, saying, "You've been talking about my kids since I was pregnant. You're jealous of my kids because they're beautiful and smart. That's why God punished you with having a slow kid." The internet couldn't even handle it anymore. The replies were thousands deep, some fans defending, others furious, saying this kind of talk about kids was too far for any public figure. And it didn't stop there. Cardi added one more punch, saying, "You hate your child because you wish you could brag about him like other moms. You just mad because your son's favorite color is 5. Get the F on, you clown." Fans didn't know what that even meant, but it went instantly viral. By now, it wasn't about rap, albums, or records. It was about pride, pain, and revenge. People were saying this feud had officially gone nuclear. At this point, social media couldn't even keep up. Every few minutes, there was a new tweet, a new clapback, or a new low. But then, Cardi took things to a level nobody was ready for. She didn't just come for Nicki's motherhood or her music. She claimed to have real receipts on Nicki's personal life and even her son's medical information. Cardi tweeted something that made the internet stop cold. She wrote, "You've been diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar for almost 9 years, and you've been on heavy meds. Perks, Xanax, all that. The only one that controls you is Kenneth Petty. Boom! The whole timeline exploded. People couldn't believe she said that. Some thought Cardi was bluffing. Others swore she had connections behind the scenes. Either way, this was wild. Fans pointed out that she basically confirmed rumors about Nicki's mental health, something that's been whispered in online gossip circles for years. It didn't stop there. Cardi doubled down, saying, "You know what happens when you sedated? That Amex starts missing funds." It was pure chaos. That line got thousands of retweets in minutes. People said Cardi was accusing Nicki's husband of controlling her through money and substances, an accusation that hit deep, especially after older interviews where Nicki defended her man. Then came the real shocker. Cardi claimed she had Papa Bear's medical records. She didn't post them, but the implication alone was enough to send fans into meltdown. She said, "Let this be the last time you mention my kids before I speak on yours." While you talk about ABCS, I'll talk about real receipts. That tweet broke the internet in seconds. Fans started debating whether she was bluffing or if she actually had private medical info. And if she did, how on earth did she get it? Even people who usually defend Cardi were saying she went too far this time. One fan tweeted, "Medical stuff? That's not beef anymore. That's a violation." And honestly, they weren't wrong. Talking about anyone's health, especially a child's, crossed serious lines. But by that point, it wasn't about right or wrong anymore. It was about who could hit harder. Rumors started spreading like wildfire. Some fans claimed Cardi's hint meant Papa Bear might be autistic, a rumor that's floated around before but never been confirmed. She didn't say it directly, but her words added fuel to that fire. The thing is, there's no proof of any of it. Nobody's seen medical records, and Nicki's never said anything about her son's health publicly. The only reason these rumors even exist is because both women let their feud spill over into family territory. And that's where it stopped being entertainment. It became personal, painful, and just plain sad. By now, everyone from blogs to celebrity insiders was weighing in. Fans said both rappers needed to log off, but the tweets kept coming. Cardi's supporters called her fearless, while Nicki's fans accused her of breaking every boundary possible. The situation turned from messy to dangerous, because when you start hinting at people's medical info, you're not just spilling tea, you're breaking trust. And now, everyone's asking the same question, and how far will Cardi go to prove her point? The internet went crazy. Within minutes of Cardi's receipts tweet, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram were flooded with reactions. Everyone, from Barbs to Barty Gang, was going at each other's throats. Fans weren't just choosing sides anymore, they were disgusted by how far both women had gone. Comments poured in nonstop. "This ain't music beef no more. This is emotional warfare," one fan wrote. Another said, "You can't drag a kid ever." That's a line you don't cross. And honestly, that's how most people felt. Even folks who used to hype up their drama were saying this was different. It wasn't entertaining. It was painful to watch. Both of them were trending worldwide, but not in a good way. Words like HIPAA, privacy, and Cardi versus Nicki kids dominated Twitter's top trends for hours. Even celebrities started weighing in, some begging them to delete the tweets, others subtly choosing sides. One music blogger said, "This might be the darkest chapter in female rap beef history." You could feel the tension online. Fans started bringing back the clip of Cardi throwing a shoe at Nicki back in 2018, saying this was that same energy but times 10. Others said Nicki should have never tweeted about Cardi's daughter because that's what pushed Cardi to go nuclear. Still, nobody could justify mentioning a child's medical situation. That crossed every line imaginable. Meanwhile, a few supporters tried to calm things down by saying maybe Cardi didn't mean it literally. Maybe she was bluffing about having medical files. But even that didn't help. Once something that personal gets thrown online, you can't take it back. Screenshots were everywhere, memes were exploding, and people were calling for both rappers to log off immediately. Nicki's fans came out swinging too, posting clips, defending her son, and calling Cardi heartless. One tweet with 500,000 likes said, "Autism is not an insult, it's not a weapon. Leave that baby out of it." People were angry that a child's name was being used as part of an argument between adults. Even Cardi's own followers started feeling uncomfortable. Some said they loved her music but couldn't defend this move. Others said both sides were to blame. Nicki started it, Cardi finished it, but now the damage was done. Everyone agreed this feud had gone too far, and it didn't stop there. People started digging up old interviews, videos, and live streams where both rappers hinted at their beef. The internet was running wild trying to figure out who threw the first shot. It didn't matter anymore. Both had crossed the line and fans were demanding accountability. Bloggers began calling it the rap war that broke the internet. The story was everywhere. Gossip sites, news outlets, YouTube channels, everyone had something to say. The headlines were brutal. Cardi threatens to leak medical records, Nicki and Cardi drag each other's kids, and fans turn on their idols. At this point, what was once a rivalry had turned into a public disaster, the kind of fight that could end careers, ruin reputations, and leave a permanent mark on both women's legacies. The fans didn't even want new music. They wanted peace, and fast. After days of non-stop chaos, one thing became crystal clear. This wasn't just another rap beef. The fallout from Cardi and Nicki's war hit deeper than anyone expected. Fans, celebs, and even industry insiders were stunned, saying this might be the ugliest feud hip-hop has seen in years. Cardi threatening to expose private info about Nicki's son, Papa Bear, crossed into dangerous territory. People started talking about HIPAA violations and asking how far she was really willing to go. Meanwhile, Nicki's shots about Cardi's daughter and her pregnancy didn't make her look any better. The world watched as two of the biggest names in rap tore each other apart. Not with bars, but with words that cut way too deep. Every platform was flooded with think pieces, debates, and hot takes. Some fans called for both women to take accountability and apologize publicly. Others said this fight showed how toxic the music industry had become, where personal pain and family insults are used for viral clicks. But one thing everyone agreed on? The kids should have never been part of it. Comment sections were filled with people begging both sides to stop. "Protect the children," one fan wrote. "This ain't beef anymore. This is trauma being live-streamed," another added. Even big bloggers who usually thrive on drama said this was too far, like calling it embarrassing, heartbreaking, and beyond repair. Behind the scenes, insiders claimed both camps were scrambling. PR teams trying to clean up the mess, deleting tweets, and doing damage control. But screenshots live forever, and the internet never forgets. Fans said even if they patch things up publicly, the respect might never return. The scariest part? Nobody knows how much darker this can get. Cardi already teased she had receipts, and Nicki hinted she's sitting on her own dirt. People are praying they don't actually leak private files or cross legal lines. If either of them does, it could turn from Twitter beef to courtroom drama real quick. This whole situation reminds fans of how far the Lil' Kim versus Foxy Brown rivalry went back in the day. But this feels even worse. Because it's not just about fame or ego anymore, it's about revenge. Every insult, every tweet, every live stream, it's all proof that these two aren't just competing. They're trying to destroy each other's image completely. At this point, the line between music and madness is gone. What started as petty shade over album sales turned into a feud involving family, private health rumors, and threats that could ruin careers. The internet's calling it the darkest chapter in female rap history, and sadly, they might be right. But here's the real question. How much lower can it go from here? Will they ever stop before it's too late? Or are we watching the complete meltdown of two rap icons in real time? One thing's for sure, this story isn't over yet. The world's watching every move, every post, every lyric. And whatever happens next will shape how both these women are remembered in hip-hop forever. So what do you think? Did Cardi go too far, or did Nicki push her over the edge? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you're keeping up with the wildest drama in rap right now. Stay tuned. We'll see you in the next one, only on StarBuzz Daily.